So the tangerine tyrant has gone back on his word, imposing a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports into Canada. He's currently freezing funding for American farmers and is shutting down US aid, while his billionaire sidekick throws up fascist signs, visiting German right-wing parties, and is now rummaging through all of the USA federal departments without federal oversight. But we have a much bigger problem on our hands, and that is the fact that we're in the midst of an authoritarian takeover, and that there are actual people defending the very leaders that are set out to control and impoverish us. These oligarchs are getting exponentially richer while the common person gets exponentially poorer. The Republican Party no longer represents its original values. Hopefully a lot of the people that are stuck in the MAGA ideology can deconstruct internally and see what's really going on. It's very similar to religious programming. So many people will defend their cult leader no matter how much harm he does. I actually don't know how people are defending the Dorito dictator at this point. What he's doing right now is a parallel to what happened after the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. The act was passed in response to the Great Depression and was intended to protect farmers from foreign competition. It raised tariffs by 40 to 60% and led to a decline in global trade by 65%. It added to the strain of the Great Depression, and this all happened right before the Second World War. They've currently frozen foreign aid, and they're trying to put a motion forward to shut down US aid. US aid dispenses billions of dollars in help to alleviate poverty, treat diseases, and respond to famines and natural disasters. It was established in 1961 under the JFK administration. They have fired the Inspector General and frozen all operations. The Trump administration is currently in court as it moves to dismantle the organization. How people don't see the similarities and parallels between this and fascist regimes that we've seen in the past is beyond me. Elon Musk throwing up the Zig Heil at the inauguration and having actual people defend his actions and defend what he's doing is absolutely wild. The man is literally showing you what he thinks and what he believes with a look of absolute excitement on his face. He looked like he was popping a chub on stage throwing up that salute. And I used to be a huge fan of Elon Musk. I read his book. I found him to be inspirational. I thought he was a genius. And now I can't even believe what I'm seeing, what he's doing. There's something called the Overton window. And the Overton window is a margin on what is politically and socially acceptable by the mainstream. And this Overton window has been stretched so far at this point that people are accepting this nonsense. We fought against these guys during World War II and we beat them. And now people are applauding somebody who's throwing up those signs on stage and making excuses for him. And the most terrifying thing about this is not what these leaders are actually doing. It's the fact that people can't separate themselves from their own bias and admit that this is wrong. I've seen people defend Elon Musk throwing up this fascist salute and telling me that Trump is trying to secure the borders with these tariffs. If you believe this, I think you need to stop smoking what you're smoking and read some actual books and educate yourself on the topics. And take a look with your own two eyes. You don't even need to read a book to see what these guys are doing right now. If you think for 2 seconds that either of these guys give a damn about anybody, especially you, I have a bridge to sell you. Think logically. If someone has never had to work hard a day in their life, has always had billions of dollars, and has bankrupted themselves multiple times, causing people to lose everything doing all of the work, what makes you think he gives a damn about you? If I have to work every day, my psychological mindset is going to be completely different than somebody who was born with everything and has everything and has never actually had to grind it out to build anything. Both of those guys have always had money. They have no idea what me and you go through on a day-to-day, and they don't really care. It's interesting because a lot of these conspiracy theorists and people that didn't believe in a lot of the mainstream media and I know it's not perfect. I know mainstream media is not perfect. I know mainstream science isn't always perfect, but all these people that believe in all these conspiracy theorists, the joke's on you. You don't have some hidden knowledge. All of the people that thought that there was this elite group of people that were controlling the world, and you thought that the Democrats were the enemy and you thought that celebrities were the enemy, these people that you voted in, they're the ones that are part of that elite group. They played you. I see a lot of religious people talk about idolatry and religion, yet you idolize a billionaire like he's God. They actually represent the very thing that you oppose, but you can't see it because you're so fixated on left versus right. That's how they're playing you. You have to defend your team instead of looking at what actually benefits us as a whole. I was once a conservative and I always thought it represented integrity, hard work, and community. This administration doesn't represent any of those values. It always amazes me as a skeptic how people fall for buzzwords and fluff. And I'm not making this video to make fun of people or to say I told you so. I'm making this video more in the sense that I want people to actually look at things critically and separate their biases for a moment. Put down your biases and look at what's going on in front of you. If you're watching this and you have to go to work every morning, tell me something. Do you feel any more at ease right now? Is anything less expensive than it was? Because the way I see it, things are gonna get a lot worse with these people in power. And I'm in Canada, but this affects us in Canada as well. Now, imposing these aluminum and steel tariffs are probably gonna cost the US a lot more. And I think this is inadvertently given me a little bit more pride in being Canadian, because I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but at least our Prime Minister has retaliated with another tariff against Trump. And I'm actually proud that he's doing that. I never thought I would say that because I've never really been happy with the way things have gone in Canada either. Things have gotten a lot more expensive. Our real estate has gone way out of whack. The amount of money it costs for a house, the amount of money it costs to buy food in comparison to our wages, that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But I'm way more proud to be Canadian. And there was a time, because half my family is American, I was a lot more proud of my American heritage than I was proud of my Canadian heritage. Since Donald Trump has been voted in, I'm a lot more proud to be Canadian. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't have him as a leader. I think we all need to get together and start seeing what the common problem is in our society. And we need to start deconstructing our mindset. It took me a long time to totally deconstruct my religion. It was a really difficult process, but I find it very similar to deconstructing your own political beliefs, because that becomes its own religion in itself. People have idolized Trump. They've made him out to be a god. I've seen people say something as crazy as he's like the second coming of Jesus and that he's God's president. There's nothing godly about what he's doing right now. And Jesus would have never represented any of this stuff. Jesus was a love thy neighbor person. He was somebody who would have suffered with the rest of us. That's what the story tells us. Jesus is an example of a good person, and he would have never done any of the things that Trump is doing. They used Christianity and they used religion to brainwash people into voting for him. And now a lot of the people in the US, I see they're turning on him now because farmers aren't getting funding. I saw one farmer talking about how he's going to be $80,000 short of his funding. A lot of the farmers are getting their funding frozen and they don't know what to do right now. And this is going to affect the agriculture in the US, and it's going to really affect global trade for the US specifically. It's probably going to repeat what happened back in 1930. And now they're going to Gaza and building. They're deporting a bunch of people out of the country. There's talk about them going to Guantanamo Bay. I find that a lot of people, once they have a certain mindset towards something, they tend to make excuses. And this is why I was talking about the Overton window. It's become almost like publicly acceptable for someone like Elon Musk to go out and do what he did. And people trying to say to me, oh, he didn't mean it like that. He was saying from my heart to you. Look at the video. If he's doing that and then he goes to a German right-wing party and tells you to get past the guilt, those two together are not a good combination. I don't care if somebody that's watching this wants to call me a lefty or a liberal. You can call me whatever you like. I've always found that I have aligned more with the conservative mindset, but I'm finding as I'm getting older, it doesn't represent what it represented back in the 90s when I was younger, in the early 2000s. If you can't separate yourself from the us versus them mentality, you will never see what's really going on. This isn't about Democrat versus Republican. This is about the beginning of an oligarchy that's trying to keep everyone uneducated and poor so they can't fight back. And if you see what recently has happened, Elon Musk shut down the Department of Education and they put a security in the front so people couldn't get through. That's a little bit alarming. I've also seen videos of him talking about shrinking down the amount of education that people had by 4 years. Now, does it make sense that somebody who's had that much education would want your kids to have less education? A billionaire? You see all this negative propaganda about schooling and how having an education is overrated, and you want an engineer to build a bridge that had 4 less years of schooling? Hopefully this video opens some people's eyes or pisses people off enough to look into what I'm actually saying. We need to stop fighting amongst ourselves and take a look at who's laughing at us from their mansion fortunes that were built from all of our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. It seems like most people nowadays just want to fight and be right in their arguments. I want a more peaceful world that gives us all an opportunity to work hard and succeed. I've been watching videos by Bernie Sanders raising awareness around this, and I know we're in Canada and it doesn't entirely affect us as much as it does in the US, but this problem of this mass brainwashing and mass hypnosis and buying into these conspiracy theories and watching podcasts by people who aren't educated in topics presenting certain biases sends a lot of people into these rabbit holes. And I know I have a small platform here. I've only got about 500 subscribers right now, which I'm actually proud of because I built that from zero. But I want to use my platform to spread a message to have people think more critically. And because there's skeptic in my title, I want to purvey the message that we need to start dropping our social programming. Just because someone says they're a Republican, it doesn't mean they're a Republican. And just because someone panders to your religious views doesn't mean they actually embody that view. The leaders right now, they're atheists. These people do not believe in God. If you think that they believe in God and you think that they're representing Christian values, I don't know what to tell you. You really need to think about what's actually going on right now. This is actually an oligarchy, and an oligarchy is when there's a very small percentage of people that control everything. And if you look at the people that were behind Trump, I think they're all worth $1 trillion together. That's an obscene amount of money. They have an obscene amount of control over everything that goes on right now. And that should be alarming to people that now they're doing unconstitutional things since they've been in power. And you can see this for yourself. You can look up the farmers, look up Westmoreland. He's very well versed in politics and he knows a lot about the agriculture in the US. And he presents how Trump does not know much about agriculture at all and how this is going to negatively affect the agriculture in the US, what he's doing with these farmers and freezing funding. And freezing foreign aid, that's crazy. You're freezing foreign aid so that way you can give billionaires more money. They're not doing it for you. People all over the world now are going to suffer. People are going to die because of this. And if you think it's okay that people are gonna, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's something wrong with you if you're watching this and you think that's okay. So that's all I got for this video. If you like this type of content, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with what I'm saying, it would be interesting to hear your point of view, and I have no problem discussing it in the comments. Just try to keep it respectful. If you want to like and subscribe to this video, it helps me with the algorithm and it helps me reach more people with this message. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. See you in the next video. I'm out.